This is the new Polestar 2 electric car, and it's a little bit like a Samsung Galaxy S10 mobile phone in the way that the design is cooler than the obvious iPhone choice. I mean, look, it's got a curved screen, look at that, it's like, mwah. I believe I just kissed my mobile phone. Anyway, the obvious choice for this size of electric car is of course the Tesla Model 3. So in this video, I'm going to see how this new Polestar measures up to the Tesla. I'm going to take it for a drive. Whoa, don't crash, don't crash. Check out its performance. 3, 2, 1, launch. Try out its technology. Hey Google, driver's seat heating.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, this is really doing my head in. Test its range. Look, I use a lot of energy then by suddenly accelerating. Show you all around the cabin. I like it a lot. See how practical it is? That's really useful. And do some other tests with it as well. Anyway, let's get on with the review. Let's start this video by talking about the design, because you might be looking at this Polestar 2 thinking, wait a minute, that's a bit familiar. Looks a bit like a Volvo. Now there's a reason for that. You see, Polestar was Volvo's performance arm, a bit like AMG is to Mercedes, but the whole company was bought by Geely, a Chinese car giant, which also owns Lotus and a load of other brands as well. And they've put Polestar as its own brand, focusing on electric cars. So the first one was the £140,000 Polestar 1 plug-in hybrid. This is their second one, hence the name Polestar 2. Now the guy who's in charge of Polestar used to be in charge of the design of cars of Volvo, and that's why this car looks rather like a Volvo. In fact, it's based on a Volvo concept. That's why it's got a grille. It doesn't need a grille, it's an electric car. There's no engine there. In fact, this panel in future will be used for housing all the sensors and stuff. It's got a radar and a camera in it already, but going down the line, Polestars will still have a grille, but they will be used more for sensoring rather than air. You've got fake vents on it, but it does look good, doesn't it? And you can tell, like the headlights, the way they got the Thor hammer effect, that is very, very Volvo. Now moving down the side, as standard, the car gets 19-inch alloy wheels. These are the upgraded 20s and they do look pretty badass. The car itself is actually based on the XC40 platform. That's why it's quite high. Look, it's quite a tall car. It's taller than a Tesla Model 3. There is one thing I've spotted that I'm not sure about. There's like a sticker here with the car's name on it and the battery capacity and stuff like that. I'll probably be peeling that off. I like this bit though, this crease, and then it comes round the back. The best bit of this car, look at the back of this. This light is so cool. In fact, I think the design of this car is really going to help sell it. So I've said to various people who've been looking for an electric car, get a Tesla Model 3, they're awesome. Only for them to come back to me going, no, the Model 3 looks like a fish, or it looks like it's melting, or it just looks boring. That's put them off the car. I think they would like this car, they'll be in the market for it. It is definitely better looking. Let's see what it's like on the inside. Oh yes, oh yes, I'm definitely liking this. It's minimalist, but not in the same way that a Tesla is so minimalist it's like an unfurnished flat. This is like a coolly minimalist but furnished Scandinavian flat. It's great. And the materials, lovely, soft, expensive feeling. Only as you get lower down do they get a bit scratchy, but overall the quality does feel a bit better than in the Tesla Model 3. I really like the way that the Polestar logo is reflected up in the roof. I love the design of this gear selector as well. All very simple, and the metalish door handles, steering wheel's good as well. Though it is familiar, it may have a Polestar badge on it, but it could quite easily have a Volvo one because it's come from Volvo, as has the switch gear. But that's not really a complaint, is it? It's not like, oh no, the steering wheel and the controls are from Volvo, that's such a cheap brand. I like it a lot. Best bit though, this infotainment screen. So nice, clear portrait infotainment screen, but the best thing about it is that it's actually Android. It's not done by Volvo, it's done by the people who know how to do user interfaces and software. It's brilliant. It's got all that you need. It's so easy to navigate between. And of course, being Android, your maps are Google Maps. There's no need to connect your phone to it and run Android Auto. It's absolutely epic. And it's so easy to scroll through the different menus and choose the layout exactly how you want it. Plus, you can sign in with your Google account. So it'll remember your preferences and stuff like that. You've got Spotify as well. You've got all that you need. You have a home button, you have audio climate controls there. So they're always on the screen if you need them. This, for me, is the best infotainment system in any car right now. You also get a digital driver's display, and that is epic too, because that can run Google Maps. So it's just really clear. You can cycle through a couple of views and it shows things like your charging, your range and all that kind of stuff. The only downside is that the mapping is a bit dark, but I know why they've done that. because if it's brightly coloured, it can be a bit more distracting when you're driving. Still, I would like the option. Now, there's one more benefit about it being part of Google as well, is that you get Google Assistant voice commands. So I can just go, hey Google, take me to London.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Let me try again. Hey Google, navigate me to London.
Navigating to London.
You have to find the right words. But you can also use it to control various functions inside the car, such as, hey Google, put the seat heating on.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Hey Google, driver's seat heating.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, this is really doing my head in. Hey Google, set temperature to low.
Got it. Changing the temperature to low.
Okay, so it's not infallible, but Google Assistant generally is pretty good. Honest. All the Apple fanboys again. It's nowhere near as good as Siri. No, you just proved that point. So yeah. Anyway, with this car, you get 3 years subscription to the internet through Google, which is good. And other standard kit includes the glass roof. You have LED matrix headlights, so they'll blank out part of their beam so you don't dazzle oncoming drivers. You've got a Harman Kardon stereo with 600 watts, it's got 13 speakers. The speaker here doesn't have the Harman Kardon logo on it, instead they're giving it a little badge here at the request of Polestar. Don't know why they've done that. It's just, I guess, a bit more minimalist, a bit more Swedish. Other stuff that you get includes wireless charging for your mobile phone, so you don't need to plug it in at all, obviously, and electrically heated and operated seats. They're lovely seats actually, and they're covered in vegan friendly materials, though you can pay extra for leather if you want to kill some animals. It's up to you. In terms of the seating position itself, you sit higher than you might imagine. Once again, that's the relationship to the XC40, but it's easy to find a nice driving position, and there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel as well. Look at that, it's all good. It's quite a practical car here on the inside. So underneath here, look, you can move your armrest around, look. But underneath here, you have some cup holders and some hand sanitizer gel they've provided for us. You also have a cup holder there, though obviously it does then restrict what you can do with this armrest. The glove box is actually an average size, so there's a bit for your manual, and look, they give you a handy cleaning cloth for the screen so I can get rid of my grubby fingerprints. Just put that back in there. The door bins, let's see, will they take? Why you just decided that I want the temperature low. Hey Google, turn the fan off.
Okay, turning off fans.
Work that time, you just got to know the right words, that's all. The guy from Polestar is going to be watching this when I was messing around with the seat heating, because he did a demonstration for me earlier, made it work perfectly, and he'll be like smacking his head going, Matt, you didn't say the right words, you made us look stupid. It does all work fine. So shut up, Apple fanboys. Anyway, back to the door bin. You can just about fit a big bottle in there. And look, you've got some extra cubbies just here. Look, at either side, you can put some stuff in there, put the hand sanitizer in there. Fairly practical. Let's move into the back, see what it's like there. I will take my bottle with me. Check out the door bin. The first thing to do, which is obviously the most important thing when you get into the back of a car, and I can just about squeeze it in there. Let's go on to the more important stuff. Knee room, really, really good. Look at that. And I can stretch out under the seat in front. Now, in some electric cars, because the batteries are underneath the floor, the seat is quite raised up and the floor's quite close to the seat, so you end up with your knees almost around your ears like that, like you're in some kind of stress position. However, because this is based on the platform of the XC40, you have this transmission tunnel, and so they filled that with some of the batteries, which means that the floor can be a little bit lower, so it's actually quite comfy for under thigh support. Slight problem is headroom. Look, it's pretty tight. You know, I'm 179 centimetres and I've got that much space. So people over 6 foot are going to have to do a little bit of that old slouching like that, aren't they? But it's all right. And you do have an armrest, some cup holders there, so a bit of practicality. You've got your ISOFIX points there as well. And there's also ISOFIX on the front passenger seat as well, so you could carry through. I can't get this back on. That's the trouble with these things, they're a nightmare to get back on. Come on, Watson. There we go. So that's all good. It's also good that you've got 2 USB-C charging points there. I forgot to tell you, there's 2 USB ports in the front as well if you need those. And you've got a couple of buttons there for your seat heating. And finally, some nettage there if you need some nettage. So the back's all right, not quite as roomy, I don't think, as a Tesla Model 3, but it's still pretty nice to sit back here. and that roof really does help make it feel quite airy. Anyway, let's check out the boot. So you can open it using a button down here. You can open it on the key, you can open it button by the steering wheel, or it comes as standard with hands-free opening, and it's a pretty reliable one at that. Now, the amount of space you've got there is pretty decent. It's like 405 litres, so a bit less than a Tesla Model 3 and a bit more than a Volkswagen Golf. What's good about this compared to the Tesla Model 3 is, look, it's a hatchback tailgate, so it's just easier to load stuff in. There's a bit of a load lip, but it's hardly anything, so it's easy to lift things in and out. And there's a lot of nice useful features here, such as some storage nets there, little strap there for stuff, your 12-volt socket, tie down points, hooks, and the interior air brake that you get with Volvos. You can see the link to Volvos. You get this on things like the XC40, so you can divide up your luggage. And then there's a bit more extra space under here as well. That's all included in your 405 litres, to be fair. Now, you have a ski hatch there, so you can carry longer items and still 2 passengers in the back. But if you need to carry really big, heavy stuff, you can fold the seats down, and then you really feel the benefit of it being a hatchback, because look, you've got this long, flat low bed. That's really useful. So I'll just shut this now. What's it doing? Right, now one of the benefits of an electric car is that there's no engine up front taking up space, so that means you should have a front boot, right? And this sort of does. Let me show it you. It's quite big on a Tesla Model 3, the front boot, but here on the Polestar 2, not so much. It's only about 35 litres, which is space for your charging cables, and that's it. And that brings you on to 5 annoying things about the Polestar 2. This has to be the worst car key I have ever seen in my life. It's as though it was a prototype and someone accidentally signed it off for production. You can't give this to a customer. Thankfully, you will be able to get the ability to open the car with your mobile phone, and the car will be getting an over-the-air update to be able to do that. But for now, you have to put up with this rubbish. I often complain about cars where their rear windows don't go all the way down. Check them out on this Polestar. It's about as bad as I've ever seen. They go about halfway down. Hardly worth them opening at all. Now, you might be wondering why I'm demonstrating that sat in the driver's seat. It's because unless someone is sat in the driver's seat, there's a sensor in it, it won't let the people in the back put the windows down. It's like the ignition isn't on unless someone's sat in the seat, which is a bit annoying. At the moment, you can't get the Polestar 2 with Apple CarPlay to connect to your Apple phone. Normally it's the other way around. You don't have Android Auto, but you do have Apple CarPlay, so ha! Apple fanboys! Also, just to confirm, look, the design of this Samsung is definitely cooler than the design of this Apple phone. So there. There is no space to store the load cover underneath the false floor, other than kind of just doing it like that. It's probably not acceptable. This is a fairly heavy car. It weighs 2.1 tonnes. By comparison, a Tesla Model 3 weighs just over 1.8 tonnes, so that's a difference of 300 kilos, which is a lot. The Tesla also beats this on another stat, aerodynamics. So this has a drag coefficient of 0.28 CD. Tesla's is 0.23 CD. And the lower, the better, the more aerodynamic, the more efficient. So this loses out. Don't worry, there's still plenty to like about this car. Here's the CarWow 5 core features. Do you like a bit of bass? Well, this car uses air woofer technology, which incorporates part of the bulkhead to amplify the bass from the stereo. You can get the Polestar 2 with a performance pack upgrade, and that costs £5 grand. And for that, you get some 20-inch forged alloy wheels, which are lightweight. You also get bigger brakes, including bigger discs and bigger brake calipers, and they're Brembo brakes. You also get Öhlins dampers, which are adjustable. And when I say adjustable, you don't press a button in the cabin, you do actually have to twiddle a knob on the dampers. So I don't think anyone's going to be doing that, but still, it's nice to have. Oh, and look, you get gold little dust covers for your tar valve. Looks smart. Soon you'll be able to do an over-the-air update for the infotainment system so that it has Netflix and YouTube, which is really handy if you're charging the car. You can then just watch some videos, our videos, obs. You're the kind of person that likes to pull trailers. Well, this can tow up to 1,500 kilos, which is pretty good for an electric car, and you can get it with an electrically operated tow hitch as well. The door mirrors are a frameless design, like the interior mirror. So when you move it, the whole unit moves rather than just the mirror panel inside, like on most cars. That is super, super cool. Even the Crow likes it. Yeah, see. Now let's talk about the price. So the Polestar 2 starts from £49,999, £900. That's important. You see, it's £100 less than £50,000, which is great. Now for that money you get a 78 kilowatt hour battery, which means that you've got a range, according to Polestar, of 292 miles, which is about 50 miles less than you get from a Tesla Model 3 long range. Now if you want to charge it from a 3-pin socket, it's going to take you 40 hours, so you're not going to do that. If you do it from an 11 kilowatt wall charger, it'll take you 8 hours, so you can do it overnight. If you do it at a 50 kilowatt DC charger, it'll take about 2 hours, and if you can find a 150 kilowatt charger, it will do it in 40 minutes. Now Polestar has teamed up with a company called Plug Surfing, which gives you access to loads and loads of chargers all over the UK and Europe with just one tag, so you don't have to join it to loads of different accounts. Thing is, this is no substitute for having access to Tesla's excellent supercharger network, which quite frankly no other electric car has. The Polestar 2 has 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle, so you've got 4-wheel drive. Combined, they produce 408 horsepower and 660 newton meters of torque. Polestar says this car can do 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, but I'm going to vouch that myself with my specialist timing gear up here. I'm going to put the car into ESC sports mode. That's the only sports setting really. You can alter the firmness of the steering, but I'll just leave it in standard. All I have to do now is just plant my right foot and off we go. 3, 2, 1, launch. Come on, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? 4.7 seconds? My arse. 4.16 seconds. A Tesla Model 3 Performance, that'll do 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. The long range Model 3 will do it in 4.4 seconds, so that figure there is quicker than the Model 3 long range. One of the great things about electric cars is the fact that you can drive them just using the accelerator alone, because when you lift off the accelerator you get regenerative braking, so it's the motor working in reverse, slowing the car down but recouping energy and putting it back into the battery. So on this car I can actually alter the amount of that braking, so I can have it off, so it just like coast when I lift off, which is what it's doing now. I can have it low, so it's not too intrusive, but it still does brake quite a lot, a bit more than a normal automatic car would. Then I can put it into standard, and then it really is pretty intense when you lift off. It's like you're touching the brakes, so you should just be able to drive without touching the brakes. And I'm going to drive around now without touching the brake. I might crash into someone, hopefully I won't. Oh, I'm hovering over the brake pedal, not going to use it though. Whoa, collision avoidance came in. Thought I was going to crash into the person in front. Oh, what are they doing? Still not touching the brake. The person in front's driving like a bit of a moron. Right, let's see what the suspension's like. I'm going to find some potholes. It feels a little bit on the firm side. It's probably the upgraded suspension, which feels a bit like a downgrade right now. I don't think I'll go for the performance pack. I'll just leave as is. Here's a speed hump. How will it deal with this? This is quite an abrupt speed hump, so yeah, you do feel it. Oh yeah, when you drop off that, it's not quite as comfortable over bumps as a Tesla Model 3. It's not awful, I can live with it. I really do like this display. There's another one there on the instrument binnacle which shows what's happening, whether you're getting power from the motor or you're charging the batteries. With the braking there, you can see when I lifted off the accelerator, that white line just showing that it's regenning the batteries. I wonder if it'll go around this mini roundabout in one go. Come on. Yes, look at that. Oh, will I make it? Yes. The turning circle on this is pretty good actually. This whole one pedal thing makes driving electric cars just so easy. That's it, I had to hit the brake then. Automatic intervention, collision avoidance. The car was helping me brake as well because it knew I was going to smack into the car in front. Who is that moron? I wonder if it'll be able to cope with going into that parking area there. It brakes quite firmly actually. Look at this. Like I can actually get close and then, whoa, I'm going to crash. Don't crash. I think I was chancing it a little bit there. Now it's probably worth just seeing what this car's like for parking. So you've got a thick pillar here. The view out the back window is pretty awful. It doesn't matter though, because I've got those 360-degree cameras. Now it doesn't have the system that you can get with a Tesla where it'll actually park itself for you with you outside the car. That's all fancy gimmickry really. Not many people use that. That's all I need to be able to park without crashing. So that one pedal thing definitely works. So it's good in town, apart from the suspension's a little bit firm. Let's see what it's like on the motorway. Hopefully I can do a bit better with the economy, because at the moment I'm performing pretty badly. One of the settings you can do in this car is to put creep on, so it's like in a normal automatic, so when you lift off the brake it will just ease forward. But it just sounds weird, doesn't it, being in creep mode? So what's this car like on the motorway? Well, it's really good actually. The suspension just smooths out when you're going quicker, so it's relaxing, the seats are supportive. Also, it's quiet in here. Don't really notice the tyre noise, bit of wind noise, but that's it. It's really relaxing to travelling. I can use the piloted assist cruise control system to basically take care of absolutely everything. It's going to use radar to keep me a safe distance from the car in front, and it'll auto steer to keep me in lane. Let's set it for 70 miles an hour. See what that does for the economy. Now what it won't do is what the Tesla will do, and that's change lanes for you. Also, I think the system in the Tesla is a bit better at reading the vehicles around it, whereas this does get a little bit caught out occasionally, but still it does take the stress out of longer journeys. Do you like the car? Yeah, good car? Yeah. That's the thing, the design does stand out. People like the look of this car. Now, one of the great things about electric cars is the instant performance when you need to suddenly overtake, and I'm going to illustrate that with this hand sanitizer. So I'm going to floor it to overtake this slow moving car. Will that go into the back seats? It certainly did. The pickup is rapid. Question is though, what's all that done to my energy usage? Look, I use a lot of energy then by suddenly accelerating. You can see that has gone all the way up there. It's very high, but overall it's not so bad. Now here's a twisted bit of road. Let's see what this Polestar 2 is like. Is it sporty feeling? The steering's a little bit on the odd side. It's quite artificial feeling. The one pedal effect does make it feel like a go-kart a little bit. And obviously the instant acceleration from the electric motor. It doesn't lean much in the corners at all. And you've got a lot of grip, but I wouldn't describe it as being fun. Once again, Tesla Model 3 just has that edge in terms of the handling capabilities. I'm not sure many people buying these cars are really going to care that much. It holds the road well, and that's what it needs to do, and it does that fine. Now I've come to the end of my time with the Polestar 2, so I've got to take the car back. But before I do, I just want to check my energy consumption. So it is below 40. Let's see what it is exactly by using the trip computer here. So I've averaged 35 kilowatts per 100 miles, which means that my range would be this number on the screen here, and that's through a mix of driving. So that's probably what you can expect from this car in reality. Now I don't know whether that's good or not because I can't see it right now, so I'll give you a selection of faces to apply to it. So is it or there's only one last thing for me to do. Hey Google, play Jessica by the Allman Brothers Band on Spotify. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Polestar 2? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the new Polestar 2. It may be not quite as quick or as good to drive as a Tesla Model 3, but it's not far off, and it is better looking inside and out.